HR supply chain, highlighting and showcasing solutions for the most complex challenges facing the industry in 21st century by our team of subject matter experts and mentors. Broadcasting every week, all year round, we will present the most up-to-date series of podcasts and webinars.
Hello and welcome to another episode of HR Supply Chain. This is Nur Hadi House, and I am speaking now with Daniele Moreschi from ProcureCon, and we are going to talk about the new learning wave from procurement and supply chain professionals. Thanks for coming and welcome to HR Supply Chain, Daniele.
Thank you for having me. Hi, Nuradi. Hi, everyone.
Can you please brief a bit about yourself, your professional background, and what do you do at the ProcureCon?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. I've been a listener of your podcast for the last couple of months, so it's a pleasure and an honor to be one of the guests today. I'm Daniele Moreschi from ProcureCon. I'm originally from Milan and moved from Italy to London after finishing my studies. I've been in the B2B event sectors for nearly 20 years. I've led events across many industry verticals for different job functions. And for the last 6 years, I've been leading ProcureCon European events. Here at ProcureCon, we have 6 annual conferences. We have 3-4 CPOs and heads of procurement for both direct and indirect spend, and 3 category-specific ones for marketing, HR, and IT spend. Now, due to COVID-19, we actually pivoted our events to virtual formats, which gave us the opportunity to add a few different formats, such as webinars and also our Connect model.
Yeah.
My role within the ProcureCon is to connect the different procurement leaders. So I spend a lot of time researching what the topics are, what are the key players, and bring them together in our very interactive events.
All right. So the pandemic has changed the education and learning process forever, Daniele, and now it's undertaken remotely and on the digital platform. So my question is, how do we, as professional in procurement and also in supply chain, adapt to the change in ensuring that the process of learning is keep going well?
Good question. My first advice to everyone who's looking to still have some sort of professional development and networking opportunities is to do the due diligence. It is very hard to cut through the noise of the many webinars and virtual events which keep popping up at the moment. And it's hard to choose, which one you're going to sign up to. My advice on that is be clear on your objectives. You need to always, both with virtual events and also with the physical ones, be clear what stage of the learning curve you are at. What do you need? Do you need thought leadership, networking, benchmarking? Are you also looking for systems and consultancy or for purely peer-to-peer interactions? These are key questions you need to answer before you even start shortlisting the events that you could go to. The ones popping up on your LinkedIn timelines or making their ways into your inbox are not always the best solutions for you. My advice is, if possible, speak with the event organizer to learn more about what you'll be getting out of each event. Many of them are run by vendors. Others are run by traditional event companies who have pivoted some of their events. But some others are run by ad hoc platforms who have purely spotted an opportunity. Now, we at ProcureCon have taken our time before finalizing our digital offering. And that was purely because we wanted to make sure that we were able to deliver a product in line with our core values. We pride ourselves on connecting you to more business leaders than anyone else in a very interactive format. And it took time to get it right, but we felt it was the right approach to do. Wait a little bit longer to make sure that we deliver a product that is premium to our audience. So when you're choosing which event to sign up for, if it's an half-an-hour webinar, probably it's not going to be the end of the world if you get it wrong. But if you're going to commit longer than that, do some due diligence, research properly, and be clear on what you're up to.
This new learning platform may not be easy, right? Not every company, not every organization is ready to accept this challenge. So what advice can you offer to make the path better and more effective in a fun way?
Yeah, I believe there's going to be some sort of resistance. People
Yeah.
enjoy the whole experience of being present physically under one roof over 3 days. But right now, I don't think there is an alternative. And to quote John Maxwell, who is an American author, speaker, and has written many books, primarily focusing on leadership.
Yeah.
What he says is, change is inevitable, growth is optional. You can't stop learning, especially now when the situation is very dynamic and all business are facing unexpected and unprecedented challenges. And what we know is that there is no textbook for it with the solutions. So this is the time to come together with your peers to brainstorm action plans.
Yeah.
So you can't be resistant to new formats. You need to embrace them, and you need to focus on the opportunity. Naradi, I was recently talking to a senior head of procurement who regularly attends an annual industry event, which last month went virtual for the first time ever. And what he told me is that not only he loved it, but he told me that for the first time he was actually able to sign up more of his direct reports onto the event, as there was no travel accommodation cost. There was less time out of the office. So normally when 2 or 3 of them were going free, at this time 11 of them managed to actually sign up and attend the event. So that's one thing. Now, how to make them more effective in a fun way? I guess even more than ever now, learning needs to be more participative and more interactive, because if you're going to be sitting behind your computer screen, you just want to be able to interact a little bit more. And for me, talking about differences between physical and digital events is a bit of a red herring. There are good and bad ones for both. And I go back to my earlier point, do your due diligence. But ideally buy from organizers you trust, as they can't afford to get it wrong. They're not just exploiting an opportunity for some quick cash. They're here to stay, and they can't afford to offer anything less than a premium product. Because when things will go back to normal and they go back to running the physical events, if you had a bad experience online, you will remember it, and you might not buy from them again. If someone has simply used online events as an add-on to the current offering, when things will go back to normal, if they don't run online events ever again, then probably the mainstream of income is probably start from somewhere else, so they won't suffer. So they can afford to take a punt, to put a product out there. They might not be well researched, not well thought out. So my advice is go back to the people that you trust, the brand that you trust, and do your due diligence again.
Other thing I would like to ask is what is the learning method looks like after COVID-19, where everyone knows that it is still unpredictable when it will be ended. So what is your view on this, Daniele?
Well, I guess we're all hoping that it's going to end very soon.
Yeah.
But it's probably fair to assume that going to physical events, and that's true not just for B2B events, but it's the same for B2C events, for the music industry, the sport industry, even when governments will lift restrictions on travel and large gatherings, both individuals and organizations might still have their own restrictions, they follow their own guidelines. So, physical events, it's a bit of a catch-22. Physical events will return when people will travel to them again, and vice versa. I guess on this occasion, the organizers are the ones who have to make the first move. So the longer people won't be traveling, the better digital events will actually become. So there is an opportunity here, because organizers will be more familiar with running and promoting them. Audiences will get more used to them and accept them as part of what they do. And I think that digital events will not disappear, but like in other aspects of life, only the best one will survive and will still be here post-COVID-19.
Yeah.
And during this pandemic and during this lockdown, we will start using more of them. I expect a surge in podcast and virtual happy hours. I started following yours a couple of months ago, and a few more podcasts that I discovered during this lockdown. I regularly started taking part in some virtual happy hours. There's one hosted by Sarah Scudder, which is the marketing procurement guru from Real Sourcing Network. She has a very cool one on a Wednesday evening. So I guess people are going to start adapting a little bit more to this new norm, and hopefully it will give us something new that we didn't have before, that even when we go back to normal, we can incorporate to our learning.
All right. So the other professional forum, like seminar, conference, and etc., also has a big change, right? And we can see now that the webinar is becoming more and more popular. Do you agree that is a point where the organizer has to change the business model? So what is your opinion?
Organizers need to listen to the audiences.
Okay.
But they also have to lead them to places they wouldn't have otherwise gone to.
Mm-hmm.
If I can give you another quote, I feel like a quote day today, but Henry Ford said it, that if you had to ask people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And I think you can't argue with the fact they did very well not to listen to them. Not only cars did replace horses, but Ford is one of the most successful car manufacturers out there. And the same will happen here. Organizers are going to be being forced now to be more digital. Everybody talks about COVID-19 driving the digital revolution in every industry, and event organizers are not different in this case. We have been experiencing now, been trying testing different platforms to use. And we're trying to recreate as much as possible the real experience that consumers have been used to. But also the virtual platforms gives you opportunities, different opportunities that maybe things you can't do in a physical event. That's why I say organizers can take their audiences to places they haven't been to. Every Friday, I share an innovation spotlight opportunity on my LinkedIn page. It's a chance for startups and small consultancies to share their offering. Mm-hmm. And it's actually one of my popular posts of the week, because consumer wants to know what's new. They're all way too familiar with the challenges, but they're not always the best place at having the solutions for those challenges. So anyone who's got a new offering, a cool offering, has got a responsibility to research it further and to take the audiences further down the journey.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, there is a big but here that needs to be addressed. The user experience is key. And organizers need to be open to feedback, and audiences need to be open with the feedback to the organizers so they can better their offering. Mm-hmm. We're still in uncharted territory here for everyone, both the users and the organizers. And like in traditional procurement, where the buyer-supplier relationship is the key to success, here is no different. We're all in this together. Procurement professionals, supply chain professionals are in need of platforms where they can develop and they can network and they can benchmark. Event organizers are racing to deliver the right opportunity, but it's uncharted territory on both sides of the spectrum. And that's when you come together, you put an offering in place, you test it, you listen to the feedback, and then you better it. I think in the next 3 months, you're going to see lots of events out there. People will start attending virtual events. I think by the end of the summer, everyone would have been to at least, one webinar and one virtual event, maybe a virtual conference. I expect that those will still be in place in 12 months from now, but with the feedback of the end users, with the platforms developing constantly, next year, those experiences will be even better and very different to what each one of us will experience right now.
Mm-hmm. All right. Interesting. Okay, so before we close our discussion today, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listener?
Well, I think, we need to embrace the change. That's what we all have to do in any aspect of our lives, both personal and professionals. And the same is when it comes to learning opportunities, networking, benchmarking, professional development.
Yeah.
So we've got to embrace the change. I know that many people out of choice would have not gone to a virtual event or a webinar. But right now, that's the only option. So we need to embrace the change. We need to do our due diligence to make sure we choose the ones that are going to be closer to offering what we need. And we're going to give feedback to have that buyer-supplier relationship, keeping it alive. And just remember that it's uncharted territory for everyone. I think what is going to be key moving forward is that collaboration. When you try something new, you're still in that position where you're offering a product, but you're still doing market research. So, the early adopters will be the ones that can shape up what the final product is going to look like. Mm-hmm. So if you really take your development seriously, and if you're someone who's been using events regularly, well, be an early adopter, work closely with the event organizer that you trust, give them the feedback so you can shape what that event is ultimately gonna look like. Now I'll be sharing, the latest news on our events on my LinkedIn page. What new events we're going to be doing, the new topics, the new speakers. But what I'd also like is people to comment and let me know if we are going in the right direction, if there's any topic they want to have addressed, any format. I like when people, comment on my post or send me a private message and look, there is a great platform here. Why don't you check it out? I've been to this great event. Sometimes events that are not really related to the topics, but it's the platform that we're keen to learn from here. Which is the platform? What was the web hoster that you used that really worked for you? Let us know, because we're all still learning as we go along.
At Bichara Supply Chain, we are committed to driving global perspective to embrace technological adaptation in improving process efficiencies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Bichara Supply Chain. And stay tuned for the latest updates. To learn more, visit our website www.bicharasupplychain.com. Thank you for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you at our next episode.